What's going on, everybody? It's your pal Frank from my personal channel. I wanted to talk to you about my employer, Uber. For the most part, I love driving for Uber. Heck, I even drive for Lyft. But I'm always going to get more business through Uber until Lyft is better known. I wanted to hopefully come with you at this video, and I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm hoping to keep it short so I don't drag on and blah, 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 blah. But I'm hoping to educate a lot of you guys, especially in the ride sharing, business, whether it be Lyft, Uber, or Sidecar, or whatever the hell they're coming out with next. I'm making this video to hopefully educate you guys because a lot of us aren't educated. And I found this out while standing in line at a local Uber office here in Phoenix, how much the Uber drivers were not educated on what to do on certain situations. You're basically, you go through your background check, obviously, and you're basically told to just get on out there and drive. That's basically what you're told. Basically, there's a fine line right now between being a taxi driver and a rideshare Uber partner or Lyft partner. There's a massive difference between the two, and it's kind of sort of explained to you if you kind of read through the disclaimers and some of the documents, and if you kind of take your time, it's somewhat in there but not fully explained. And there's no Uber person who sits down with you and explains to you about all this. So about a month ago, in January, I basically I was out on patrol. Yeah, I guess not on patrol. I was online. I was driving around in Tempe, and I got a ping on Uber to go pick somebody up. So I was on the left-hand side, and you know what? I guess you could say, and I don't think what I did was wrong. I went from the left to the right hand with my turn signal, and I made a right to on one of the streets to go towards a bar or some the usual in a college town like Tempe. And I guess what I did in the cop's eye was very wrong. I guess, going from left lane to the right lane, even though I was using my turn signals, I guess it was wrong. Maybe I did it very fast. Maybe I did it suspiciously. I don't know. I go to turn into the street. He, puts the light on, very bright. I'm like, oh crap, what did I do? Obviously, he blinds me basically. You know how the cops are. I guess. And I get it, I'm sure doing a traffic stop is pretty dangerous. So, I understand the whole lights and the whole, show and everything. So I'm thinking to myself, shit, what did I do? Was I swerving? Was I acting suspicious? So of course I had to cancel the ride. I don't know, I hit do not charge a driver or something like that, because I really don't have time to be like, hey, I'm getting pulled over by a cop, sorry, you gotta cancel. So I canceled the ride. The cop came up to me, he's like, yeah, hey, you did, right? You went from a improper, I guess it was an improper lane change. And that's, I guess that's fine. But that's not what I was really worried about, or what's the whole situation is now, is the fact that he looked over to my, I have hanging out of my rearview mirror is an Uber air freshener, and on my iPhone is mounted on my dashboard that has the Uber app, obviously offline. And he's like, "Oh, you're with Uber. You're a taxi." I'm like, well, I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm with Uber." He's like, "Okay, well, I need to see your commercial insurance." And this is after I handed in my car insurance, my ID, registration, everything was valid. He's like, "Well, I need to see your commercial insurance." I was like, "No, I was never told that I had to. Uber never told me that I had to present to a cops or anything like that." Any type of commercial insurance. And he kind of seemed taken aback by it. He's like, huh, okay, wait here. About 20 minutes later, this is after like 3 cop cars came to back him up. And like I said, the incident didn't get crazy. There was nothing happened. About 20 minutes later, the cop came back and he gave me a ticket. He cited me for 2 violations. And he listen, cops are nice sometimes, and cops are fucking jerks a lot of the times. This guy was a jerk. He was one of the few people apparently that are giving Uber drivers a lot of problems. And I'm probably one of them in Tempe. He came back and he's like, all right, I cited you for improper lane change, even though I use my turn signals, and not having a commercial insurance. And I was like, well, so what do I do? Like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll just, I figured I told them I'll contact Uber, and surely enough, they'll send me a document with my name and saying that I was covered. I have a commercial insurance. He's like, oh, okay, whatever. He didn't give 2 shits. You know how cops are. So the whole night was ruined. I was pissed. I just went home. I was like, what the hell? Why is Uber never told me that this could happen. Uber never told me that Uber was illegal. I contacted Uber via email because they don't fucking have a goddamn phone number. And here's another thing, and this is probably gonna turn into a rant. Hopefully not too long. This is just to educate you guys. What I love about it is that Lyft. If I had an incident, and this is totally different than Uber. I had an incident happen with Lyft that it almost got kind of violent with some drunk passengers and stuff like that, and I wasn't expecting anything. I rated that passenger after I dropped their drunk asses home. I rated them 1 stars, and I just put in the comments, beware of these guys. They're very abusive, they're very violent, they name call and stuff like that. And within 3 minutes later, I was getting a call from a 1-800 number or some random number, and it was Lyft. They called me to get down to the situation, make sure. They even said, are you okay? Are you fine? They have a direct number for emergency situations. So obviously, if you have a random question about your direct deposit, you're probably not going to be wanting to call that Lyft emergency number. But if you're having honest to goodness emergency, Lyft has a direct number. Uber doesn't. Everything's done through email. So even if you get into a violent altercation, you get assaulted, somebody throws up in your car and stuff like that, you have to email them and then wait for a response. Sometimes they get back to you within a few minutes, and sometimes they get back to you within a couple of days. I've seen this. I've asked almost important questions in the past through Uber, and they've taken days to get back to me. The only instances I see them kind of hurry up is when there's a mess that's happened in the car, or somebody's thrown up or something. They usually get back to me the next day, and they're good at that. They compensate, they reimburse my money back pretty quickly. So I when I got home angry, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I got a ticket for doing the job that Uber didn't really tell me I needed to have some type of documents. I emailed Uber. I'm like, hey, I just got a ticket, and this is why I got pulled over. But the cop was starting to give me problems about that I should be having a commercial insurance because I drive for Uber. I'm acting as a taxi is what the guy said. Total jerk. Here's the first response, and I really don't want to pull up the email or anything because it's whatever, it's dumb. They're like, okay, go ahead and send us the copy of the ticket. I'm like, okay, and I sent it to top. I attached a copy of the ticket along with the response. I'm like, okay, well, is there any way I could get a document of can I get a document copy of it, or can you send me a copy with my name that says that I have commercial insurance, and insurance, and again, however long that took, probably a couple hours, they came back. Oh, it's on your app. That's all I said. That's all they said. Oh, the insurance is on your app. So I was like, oh, where? So I had to dig through the Uber app, and it's apparently just pulling it up. Apparently, you have insurance, and it's in your app. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that they don't really. It's in your way bill. You go to your. I guess when you're logged out. And for some reason when we pull, it hasn't been pulling up. You have normal. Let me. I'm trying to word this correctly. I probably should have, rehearse this or something. But I'm trying to, just do this and have have it all come out. I guess Uber, the difference, taxi cab. If you're let's say discount cab, yellow taxi, whatever the hell, Apache, discount cab. This is the names I'm throwing out for Tempe, Phoenix area. Apparently, if you're a taxi, you have to be licensed, and you have to have commercial insurance. Now, if you're gonna next time you are by a taxi or something, if you see the back bottom right windshield, or I'm sorry, the back window, if you see at the back, you're gonna see a sticker. Now that sticker usually it'll have the outline of your state, and that means that they are licensed. Those are the taxi drivers. Okay. Now here's why they're pissed at us. That hey, some 20-year-old or us coming around, not licensed, coming around and basically taking their business. And hey, listen, taxi cabs need to catch up with the times. It's the 21st freaking century. Nobody wants to wait around an hour and a half for you to decide to show up to pick them up. People are gonna love that. Hey, my Uber driver's five minutes away, and it shows his car in real time on its way to my location. Here's where Uber is able to get away with this. There's a fine line, I guess, because they are a rideshare business company, whatever. You are not. You don't have to have commercial insurance. Do we have insurance through them? Absolutely, not commercial insurance. We have insurance. The good thing about it is that I think through commercial insurance. Commercial insurance, you have to be insured up to $300,000 through commercial insurance. Here's the thing with Uber. You have normal insurance, not commercial insurance, normal insurance, but you are insured up to $1 million. Now, the details, I don't really know who's covered. I think the passengers are covered or the total thing is covered. So you exceed, and maybe I don't know about any other states, but in the state of Arizona, and if you're watching this, you might want to, and you drive Uber or Lyft in Arizona, and again, I don't know how it works with Lyft. I'm specifically pointing this out for Uber. We exceed the maximum amount required to be insured. Now, here's where it gets confusing, and a lot of people don't understand this. We haven't. You're insured. You are insured if you're an Uber driver. Absolutely. But when a cop comes, if you have a problem when a cop comes up to you, unfortunately, you could show them your app all you want. You could show them that little waybill that has your name, insurance name, and all that. But you know what? That's not commercial insurance. That's just normal insurance. And that's where the cop. And if he wants to be a douchebag about it, it's going to give you trouble like the one I got. Here's the thing. I've talked to many cops in different cities. They love Uber. They think it's a fantastic idea. It's innovating. And here's the thing. The governor of Arizona is backing up Uber all the way. So here's what's happening with me. And it hasn't even been fully resolved yet. Going back to my interactions with the Uber support email, they kept asking me for the trip ID. I didn't remember the trip ID because everything happened so fast. At one point, they just said, "Hey, yeah, if you wanna, everything's on your app," is what they kept telling me. So at one point, I was gonna go down to the courtroom and show him my app. Well, here I have insurance. I didn't have no idea that it was just normal insurance, not commercial insurance. It wasn't until about the Super Bowl, February maybe ish, early February, late January, is when okay, I'm heading down to the one of the local offices here in Mesa or Chandler. I'm gonna surely one of these Uber employees is gonna help me out. It's gonna get me the documents I need. They're gonna explain, of course, everything I need to be able to, be prepared to go to this court, because my court date for the two violations was on the 23rd, and we're on the 26th, so it was a few days ago, Tuesday. So this was back in late January, early February. I forgot when the hell the Super Bowl was. We went down to one of the offices, and we're like, hey, here's what happened, and what can we do, and what do we need to do, because I need to show this judge something that I had insurance at the time, commercial insurance. They're like, oh yeah. If you go to this URL, they wrote me out a URL. That's basically what they did. If you go to this URL, it's gonna just choose your state, and it's gonna give you all the documents you need. I was like, fine, awesome. Here's the thing: when I was standing in line to talk to the Uber employees, I asked about 5 Uber drivers who were standing in line either to wait to get a phone, or to register, or they had issues with something. And I'm like, I had a quick question. What do you know what to do when a cop pulls you over and ask you if you have commercial insurance, or if they tell you that Uber is illegal? I'm like, do you know exactly what to do? And they're like, no, I don't. What are you supposed to do? And 5 or 6 Uber drivers didn't know what the hell to do. And apparently, what Uber suggests to do is pull out your app that has the waybill, and it's supposed to supposedly have all your insurance information right there, and then the cop's supposedly supposed to take it. So all right, we're like, okay, fine, awesome. I'll be able to at some point get print out a document with my name that has the insurance information. Cool, no problem. So I kind of left that because hell, my court date was a month away. But here's the thing that I almost forgot to mention is that when the cop gave me citation, not having commercial insurance was actually marked as a civil traffic. Okay, that's not too bad apparently. Here's the thing: the guy actually tracked me down to give me a revised ticket and upgraded the no commercial insurance from civil to criminal. So here's how it gets. So I'm over here. I'm like, okay, it's kind of severe, but it's not. But now this cop is tracking me down and basically upgrading that violation to criminal, and criminal is severe, and criminal stays on your record forever. So if you try to get a job or some shit like that, it's gonna be some questions. It's gonna come up in your background check, like criminal traffic violation, or if failure to this and this. So that's when it got serious. And I was freaking out, and basically Uber said to here's a URL, there's some documents you could take to the court with you. So that's fine. We left it at that. There was a month. It was basically almost about a month away until we had to worry about it, or more than a month away till we had to worry about it. It wasn't until so I didn't, Uber didn't really get back to me on what to through email to what to do next. So we kind of left it at that. And it wasn't until I finally, and my wife has been, I think if anything, she's more worried than I am. She's been helping me. We finally sat down and entered the URL to get the documents. This was like a few days. This was a couple of days before the court. The court was, so we should have done. I'm not, I know I should have probably jumped on this sooner, but you know what? We put too much faith on Uber and thinking that we were going to be taken care of at first. We went to the URL and got the documents, or went to Phoenix insurance. But here's the thing: it's the insurance, and it's not commercial insurance; it's normal insurance. But here's the thing: the document comes with all the information that it says is an insurance form or a document saying when it started, when it expired, but it doesn't have your name on it. it has there's nowhere on the insurance says my name Frank so and so, address so and so, insurance for it has none of that. So there's no point. I cannot show up to a courtroom saying, "Hey, I'm insured." They're going to be like, "Well, it just says the insurance company, but it doesn't have your name on it." So we're going to have to, so I can't go in like that. So I started freaking out. So I'm like, surely I'm going to go down to, again, this time the Uber offices in Tempe, I think, Tempe, Arizona. And this has to be some of the most shady locations I've ever been to, and the way they do this. So basically, you show up to a plaza, one of those office buildings or whatever, 2-story. You go upstairs, and if nothing's marked, I think they give you an address. I emailed somebody. They gave me an address, to go check it out. There's no Uber stickers. There's a sign. But here's the thing. The Uber offices here are open Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 4 to 7. We got there about 4:15. The sign was up saying Uber offices is closed. And at the bottom it says hours operation Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from 4 to 7. It was almost 4:20. So for crying out loud, nobody came out to take the sign out. Here's the thing. There's no receptionist. There's no people up at the front. Nobody to help you out. There's a sign-in. You sign in. You sign in through an iPad that's left up front. That's your sign-in. So we're like, well, what the hell? Okay, I signed in. I put my name, my phone number, the issue. There's no issue for... They need to add a miscellaneous, for crying out loud, because my situation was nowhere on the list. So we had to hit one of the random ones, and we hit submit, and we kind of just stood there. And I went with my wife. I told her I'm gonna flip if I get an email right now from Uber saying, "Hey, we heard you have an issue. What can we help you with?" I was gonna flip, but thankfully, further into the offices, it was like a big conference room, and we saw this, and we didn't really go into there because we thought it was just a business meeting. There was a bunch of people in there having a meeting. No, it was actually the waiting room for Uber. It was the waiting room for Uber drivers to wait to be called up to about 4 Uber employees to talk to them. There was about 25 people, about 20 people ahead of us when we got there. And it was about an hour and a half wait to finally go up to talk to somebody. And now some of these Uber people, they're total hipsters. I'm not bullshitting you. They're all hipsters. They're all maybe out of college or in college right now. They all have their Starbucks coffees. They have the hipster haircuts and stuff like that. So they're a bunch of kids, maybe 2 guys that I think they were maybe over the age of 30 were there. The rest were like, young, young women and men, who were there on Apple computers. That's literally it. There's no printers. There's no anything else to help you out with. We got called up after about an hour and a half, and we explained the situation, and they're like, they basically at one point said, "We don't know what to do." And I explained the situation, the severity. I'm like, it was upgraded from civil to criminal. They're like, yeah. And then I talked to a blonde chick at one point. Couldn't have been more than 21, 22. And she's like, nothing much we could do. And, I was like, what? And then finally a guy, apparently maybe he was a supervisor. So he's like, all right, slide over here. Let's take a look into it. They asked me who I talked to. At one point they were putting the blame on me. They're like, well, you didn't, we gave you all the information. I'm like, well, you all you told me was like everything's on my app. We went down to an Uber office in another location. We were given a URL for an insurance document that didn't have my name on it. So what the guy did was talk to the original person that I emailed that first night I got the ticket, and apparently everything was delayed because I didn't give the trip ID. The trip ID, I had no clue. At that point, I had no clue where to look for the trip ID because I never mess around with that. All I do is mess around with the app and my payment statements, and that's about it. So because I didn't provide my trip ID, they couldn't do anything further. And that was stupid because I even requested them, like, hey, can I get a form and stuff like that? They could have said, well, we can't give you a form without you providing us with a trip ID. With this guy, with the guy we were talking physically to, we were able to basically track down the trip I was on before when I was pulled over, and I had to cancel the trip. So we got a trip ID out of that. So we were basically told to again show the insurance that we have on the phone, because the on the phone is the only thing you have that has your name on it. Not even the document. There's a document that you could bring up on the screen, the full document that doesn't even have your name, and you can't even zoom in to so it's a mess. So basically, the guy's like, well, I don't want to rush you guys away, but I can't really do anything right now. If go to the courts tomorrow is what they said, and if there's any repercussions on the no commercial insurance, let us know, because we will contact the legal team. I was like, oh, okay. So I basically have to go and either A, hire my own lawyer, or B, see what the judge tells me, and basically what the repercussion is after what, if I show my insurance. So left there, I didn't know what to do. I was just in disbelief. I was pissed. I was almost gonna be done with Uber. I was like, you know what? They're just gonna push away their drivers. That I was so mad at one point that I'm like, listen, you need to help me out. If it wasn't for me or the drivers, you wouldn't have a job. We pay your salary. We pay this. We make Uber the $4 billion business it is today, or whatever. You cannot just throw us aside and stuff like this. So he basically let me go into the sent me on my way under the assumption that let them know what happens after that court date, which was the next day. Let them know, because they will help. They will contact the legal team. That's what they said. Left there about 7:30, 8 p.m. I was devastated, pissed off. Got a call. I got a call from a lawyer. Okay, I'm not gonna say his name or anything, but I got a call from a lawyer saying, hey, Uber gave me this information, and Uber will pay me. Uber will pay the lawyer to represent me in this matter. I can't tell you how relieved I was. He basically said that he's represented about 100 Uber drivers in Arizona, and he's gonna be with me the whole way through, almost, and I'm not gonna pay a dime for any his services. Uber is gonna pick up the tab. I basically told him the situation, what the violation was. He's like, yeah, it's a slippery slope. You are insured. It's just kind of hard to prove that you are insured. And he's the one that told me that I'm actually insured for $1 million, and the state requires at least $300,000. So he basically said that he's gotten everybody's that he represented through Uber. He's gotten their cases dismissed or brought down to a lesser charge. So basically, he just reassured me, don't worry about it. Let me know what happens. Basically, again, just like Uber, he said let him know what happens after the court. So okay, I felt immediately better. I had support finally. I didn't lose faith with Uber just yet. Uber actually saw maybe how serious this was, and probably went back to through the communications that I had with some, through email, saying, well, this guy actually tried to get some help and we didn't get him help. We're going to give him a lawyer, pay thousands of dollars. The lawyers are fucking cheap. Thousands of dollars to help him out. So the next day I went to the court. I'm wrapping this up, I promise. Went to the court. Got there on time, waited 2 hours because there were so many people. So many people there. There was about 25 people went ahead of us before I was finally called. People were getting, impatient. They were jumping up and down. They're like, "Oh my god!" One lady was like, she was freaking out. At one point, this lady was, she came up to the judge and say, "Hey, when am I going to go next? This and this and this." And she was there before I got there, and I actually got called ahead of her. So I think by her going up to the podium and harassing the judge, got her, I think, pushed back a bit. I went to the judge. Nice judge, nice, very nice, very. He works with you because I was, I was able to watch him work for 2 hours with these stupid kids that, a lot of college kids, and this was. I got the violation in Tempe. I had to go to freaking Chandler, Arizona, so it's about a 15-mile difference. And a lot of kids from college town, which is Tempe, had to go to Chandler, and a lot of them were underage drinking, carrying, drugs, and this and this and this. So I pleaded not guilty, and I was set to a pretrial for a month, basically, from now. And that's where I will be. My lawyer and I will be talking to a prosecutor, and most likely, basically, what the lawyer says is we're gonna negotiate. That's basically what it is. The courts don't want, if they don't have to and they don't have enough evidence, they don't want to go to trial. Trial is expensive. It's a waste of time if not need be. And for me, my situation, there's probably no need to go to trial. We're probably going to, the lawyer's probably going to negotiate with them, probably bring it down. I'm not expecting I'm expecting the criminal violation to be dropped, but probably I will have to at least pay or do some traffic school for the improper lane change. So hopefully that works. So I'm hopefully gonna update the video a month from now and basically give you the outcome, and hopefully I'll be done with this, or I'll be in jail. You could actually go to jail for this. You could actually go to jail for me not having a commercial license, or what I was accused of, even though who I work for doesn't require. So if anything, I have the best person on my side, a judge. I wish I had a judge on my side, a lawyer who has represented Uber drivers, who understands how Uber drivers, how the Uber works, how their policy works, how the insurance works. So I'm basically in good hands. And if you're an Uber driver, be careful. Uber support is a hit and miss. Uber support is a hit and miss. I've had some good times with Uber, and I've had some bad times with Uber support, and they wait till the last second. I was not expecting them to get me a lawyer, not in a million years. I was expecting to go at it by myself, and now I'm not. It's amazing. They will back you up 100%. You just got to make sure. So just make sure if you get pulled over and And Uber even says this, that it's very rare that a cop will give you shit for being Uber, and because a lot of cops aren't educated of what Uber is, and what they don't have to have or what they have to have. So I just happened to get a fucking jerk cop he was a dick. He had the cops they were the Tempe, they were the Arizona State University police officer. Those guys are typically the guys running around at frat parties trying to catch people doing, underage drinking. I guess it was a slow night, and he decided to come after me, him and 3 other buddies. It was not necessary to have 3 SUV cop cars, 3 SUV, I guess cop SUVs or whatever, pull me over. It was ridiculous. It's overkill. But I guess you got to be safe. So it's been somewhat stressful. I feel a lot better now because I have a good feeling on how this is going to be. It's kind of hard to prosecute somebody because they were driving Uber and not having, because Uber doesn't require you to have commercial insurance. It's going to be kind of hard for the prosecutor to get me when the governor is 100% behind Uber. You know, Uber just had a dinner thing with Ducey as our governor, and it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to get me when the fucking governor is behind us. So I think I'm gonna be all right. So I'm gonna be giving you guys an update if you guys catch this. But please, please, if this happens to you, please. If this happens to you, I beg you, it's been a stressful fucking thing for me. If this happens to you, get a hold of Uber right away, like I did. Get a hold of Uber. Remember the trip ID, or take a snapshot of the trip ID. I know a lot of Uber drivers use iPhones. Take a snapshot of that Uber ID and send it to Uber. And just to let you know that they aren't going to be straightforward with you right away. They're going to be saying, well, the insurance is on your thing and this and this. That's not going to cover it. Because and hopefully now, I'm hoping now, and I have a feeling, because I think now the police officers are more educated with Uber, because I've been driving all over Tempe. I've stopped at a stoplight next to a police officer with my Uber app open and everything, and he didn't give me problems. It's just that there's that one cop, and there's always going to be that one cop in your town, in your city, that doesn't understand. He thinks, well, I've been trained that taxis, if I pull a taxi, cab over, they have to have this, and this, and this. So of course, if I pull somebody up who, Uber is a taxi service, Lyft is a taxi service. No, it's not. It's completely different. It's a ride-sharing service, and apparently that falls under a different category. So, all right, I've been talking way too much, and just please be careful out there. A lot of people don't understand what we do just yet. Obviously, a few law officials don't understand what the hell Uber is or Lyft is. They literally think we are taxi drivers. In a way, yes, we are, but that's not how we're labeled, and that's not what we are. We are partners. We are Lyft partners. We are Uber partners. We are our own bosses that partner with, Uber and Lyft, who provide us the service to pick up the passengers. So that's been my dilemma, and it's not even over yet, and it's still a month from now. I'm hoping to update this with update you guys with the hopefully positive news, and we'll see how it goes. So, all right, guys, if you have any Uber horror stories, or you have any of the similar, if you've been in a similar situation, please let me know. Please let me know if you've been pulled over. Please tell me your stories, what you did, how Uber treated you. Please let me know, because hell, I've been through it. I never thought in a million years that Uber never educated me in saying, hey, Frank, just to let you know, if you ever get pulled over, this is the steps you need to do. Nothing. Never educated me, because they never thought that they think that everybody's educated. Everybody knows about Uber. That's not true. Not a lot of people know about Uber, and they think that when I went to the offices the other day, they're like, oh, it's rare that we get that. You got that one rare cop that's a dickhead and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, it's true. I did. So just be careful. That's all I gotta say with cops. And just, what did they say? Uber on? I'm not going to say that shit. That's actually kind of annoying. I'm mad at Uber. You know what? I'm not mad at Uber, because they gave me a lawyer. I would have never been able to afford a lawyer. Lawyers are easily a few grand just to do, what this guy's about to do. All right, guys. Please let me know your stories. If you have any questions, let me know, please. I've been doing Uber for about 6 months now. I've seen some shit. And I've talked a lot to Uber, and I've contacted Uber support a lot of times. So I could be useful to some of you guys maybe. But again, questions, comments, concerns, Uber stories about the similar situation, please comment below. If you want to hit subscribe to this channel, why not? I do I do a bunch of different things. It could be from movie reviews to video game reviews to my Uber stories and stuff like that. So, all right, guys. Until next time, take it easy and Uber on. I guess, I don't know.